All right, we get to see a little bit more of Tua Tagovailoa here playing against the Arizona Cardinals, who surprisingly have been one of the better defenses in the NFL up to this point, even though they have arguably the best offense, been good defensively. So should be a tough battle here again for Tua, getting to play against two tough defenses in the NFC West as his first two starts. Really probably won't get to see what he's capable of until he plays a weaker defense, but Vegas is expecting this one to be an average scoring game, 48-point over-under. Cardinals favored by 4.5. Dolphins defense has been getting stingier and stingier against the passing game, but we're not really that concerned. Kyler Murray has been able to overcome pretty much any matchup up to this point. Even though over the last 5 weeks, the Dolphins have allowed the least amount of fantasy points to quarterbacks, it doesn't scare me off of Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has been the most consistent fantasy quarterback of every quarterback in the NFL, the only guy to score a quarterback one start in every game up to this point. He has been every bit as good as Russell Wilson has been for fantasy. Maybe he doesn't carry quite the ceiling of Wilson, but definitely has a really solid floor, especially he's basically been what Lamar Jackson has been last year, just with a little less juice. Really love Kyler Murray every single week. Dolphins giving up a ton of points to the run, though. So with Kenyon Drake out, Chase Edmonds is going to be a top-tier play this week. Absolutely excited for that. On the Cardinals side, as I mentioned, their defense has been above average. They do give up a decent amount of points to receivers, but we still don't really know what to expect too much with Tua coming into town. Dolphins trade away Isaiah Ford, so that makes things a little bit more interesting in the slot. Does that mean Gesicki is going to get more looks? Very hard to trust Gesicki at this point after his last two performances. Hasn't even put up a combined 2 fantasy points in his last 2 games. So it's going to be hard to trust Gesicki. I think that them sending away Ford should help get him on the field more. Watch him end up blowing up this week, because up to this point, every time we've thought about recommending benching Gesicki, those are the games he goes off. So based on that theory alone, this is probably a Gesicki week. But pretty much the only guy I'm really comfortable starting this week is Parker. With Myles Gaskin put on IR, he's going to be out for 3 weeks. Matt Breida dealing with an injury. Maybe this is a Patrick Laird week. Don't really want to trust any of the running backs here. Preston Williams you could convince me into flexing him, especially with Ford out in a game where the Cardinals are likely going to score a lot of points. It's just really hard to trust anyone on the Dolphins offense against the Cardinals defense with injuries and with Tua looking pretty poor last week. With Ryan Fitzpatrick out, it's definitely taken a lot of the excitement out of the offense for fantasy. On the Cardinals side, as I mentioned already, we're playing Kyler every week. Chase Edmonds, a great start this week. Deandre Hopkins, you can't bench him. Christian Kirk would be the guy that could potentially dud this week, especially if Byron Jones covering the deep targets there could limit Kirk to shorter passes, which anytime that happens, he ends up not having as good of a fantasy day. I still have him ranked in my top 36, which is why he's in my starting category, but there is some hesitancy in that play due to the defense here. Cardinals defense, I think, is a good start this week as well, with Tua still making a lot of rookie mistakes. Not playing anyone else here. Not going to get too cute with it. I got the Cardinals winning this one pretty easily, 27-17.